So we've got our apportionment template. The way this is set up, everything in yellow or orange, that's what we're going to adjust every single time. So you see like the state populations, the final allocation, the house size, those are all in orange. Those we are going to adjust every single time. Wherever there is blue, we're going to write a formula that does the work for us. So what we have here, we've got a number of different, we go to the examples. Populations, I'm going to put the numbers in there. So we've got blah, 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 the seats in Portugal's assembly. We've got 226 seats to apportion. We've got the percentage of voters. In the population column, we will put in the populations. The names on the left, the state name, it really doesn't matter. That's if you want to put that in each time. Usually I put in just A, B, C, D, E, so forth. The names don't matter. The population numbers matter. So we'll get our populations in there. When you are on the iPad, you can type the number, hit enter. Or when you have the bar, when you're typing in some value, there's a little blue check box, and you can just tap the blue check. We'll be using that one for the formulas. Once we have, now we've done this by hand repetitively, so we've seen things and how they work over and over again. Here's where if we can think about the process, then we can convey that through the computer. Once we have the populations, what's the very first thing that we do with the populations? We add them. That's going to be our total population. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to the total line. We're going to write a formula that automatically gives us the tally. So total, when we are writing a formula, we always start off with the equal sign. So I start off with equals, and now here it's going to give us some suggestions, but if we have an idea of what we want, we can just start typing it. Now there is no formula that says total of something, but we want to add things. Math talk for adding is sum. So if I start typing sum, S-U-M, it gives us some suggestions. So I want to sum a row of values. Now this is a little bit too predictive for me. Sum, open parentheses. Now once it gives you a suggestion, you can tap on it. We want to add every value there. What I will do is I will tap on the very top cell, and then there's a little blue bubble that shows up at the bottom right. I'm going to tap and hold and drag all the way down, highlighting every value in that column. Now there are eight cells, 8 boxes in that column. I'm going to go all the way down, B2 to B9. Right now we've got 6 pieces in there. Sometimes we might be using all 8. If we only highlight the 6, as soon as we put in another one, it's not going to tally that. So we've got equals sum B2 to B9. Close the parentheses, hit enter, or hit the blue check mark next to the equation that you've got. Automatically adds everything. Blue, we're running the formula. Yellow or orange, whatever color that is, we change the values. Now here, if we realize, oops, we made a mistake in there, that's not 40.2 for E, that's actually supposed to be 30.2, it automatically adjusts. You can see down at the bottom that it's now down to 89.9. I'm going to put that back. The value to this, you never have to add all the populations to find the total again. Once we've got the total, what do we find next? We're going to find the natural divisor. Well, the house size, it tells us, is 226. So I'm going to put in our number 226. Natural divisor. So I've got this set up so that it kind of walks us through along the way. Natural divisor, how do we find the natural divisor? That was when we took the total population and divided by the house size. So blue, we're going to start off, we're going to write a formula that takes the total population divided by the house size. Starting a formula equals. I want the total population, so I will select the cell that contains the total population. So I will just tap on that 99.9 cell. It shows up B10 divided by, I want to divide by the house size, so I will tap in the cell that contains the house size. In this case, that's B11. Each time you tap on a cell, it's going to plop that number in there. So if all of a sudden I've got different, oops, I'm tapping elsewhere, it's going to keep switching that number. So be careful with that. I want to tap that. So I've got the total population divided by the house size. Hit the blue checkbox or enter to get out of there. There is our natural divisor. You never have to do that again by hand. If we realized, oops, there's actually supposed to be a 7th seat in there that's got 15% of the vote, everything updates automatically. That's kind of nice. You don't have to do it anymore. No mindless number crunching. All right, so we've got the total population, we've got the natural divisor, natural quotas. How do we find the natural quotas? Each one, it was the state population divided by the natural divisor. I'm going to make a mistake here. Now, there are 8 different columns, or 8 different cells for 8 different states. We only need to do this once. I'm going to make a mistake here, and then we're going to correct it. So, top one, I'll go through, show you what happens. I'm going to write a formula for the natural quota. Natural quota is our state population, so I will tap our state population divided by our natural divisor. So I've got B2 divided by B12. If I hit enter, okay, that's done. But then I'm on to the next space. What I can do, rather than type a new formula for the next one, and then a new formula for the next one, we can take what we've already got, copy and paste all the way down. So once I'm off that cell, so I've got the first formula, there's this little blue bubble, the bottom right. If I tap that hole, I can drag down, and it repeats the formula all the way down. Now, this is where the mistake is going to be. I'm going to tap that and drag all the way down. It shows up, well, hashtag div by 0, or pound div by 0. When we see that, there's an error in the formula. Now the first cell that we have is B2 divided by B12. B2 is state A divided by the natural divisor. The next cell, what we want, is we want B3 divided by B12. You notice that when I copied and pasted, each going down, okay, B4, B5, it automatically shifts the cells, so we don't need to go and change things. However, it showed up as B16 each time. And you can see that the natural divisor cell keeps shifting. We want the state population cell to shift, so we want this to be B3, B4, B5, B6, but we want this to always stay B12. We can do that, so I'm going to delete those mistaken cells. I'm going to tweak what I have here. So we want B2 divided by B12, but we want B12 to stay locked. Those of us with prior Excel spreadsheets experience, do we know how to lock a cell? Yeah, we're going to use the dollar signs. So around B12, we're going to do $B, $12. So for that first cell, I've got B2 divided by $B, $12. So now, got $B, B2 divided by $B, $12. So I enter that. When I have the little blue bubble at the bottom right of the cell, if I click, tap, hold, and pull that down, it will automatically fill, or actually if you tap in there, it'll say autofill. You can select autofill. It puts in the formulas for us. And if we go back and check those formulas, it keeps B12 all the way down. So I had those. I'm going to clear those out just to redo that. The first cell, little blue bubble, click hold, drag it all the way down to where I want. For me, it automatically fills it. You may have to tap in the center and hit autofill. How are we doing so far? All right, So if you have things that you want to clear, you gotta, if we highlight everything, you tap in the middle and you hit clear. That'll wipe out. So it doesn't copy over cells that are already established.
So I got to drag it.
Alright, so that tap in the middle, autofill.
It's not.
Okay.
I messed up on this.
You're in the wrong spot. Alright, so you are in, you're gonna be in the,
What was the in between? How do I
colon.
colon?
Because I am hitting the dollar signs, but it's not saving them.
You have the wrong,
Am I the wrong thing?
oh, you inserted a new row, which is why you got that extra blue box there. So if you get, okay.
Then what was the natural divisor?
That's equals, so you got the formula bar up here, so it all shows up. That's gonna be this 95.3 D10. I don't want to type in a specific number because it's always going to use that. D10 divided by B11.
Yeah, it's the formula.
Yeah, I don't want it again. Divide by. So now you got to type it in manually. Go to the numbers, bottom left, dollar sign. Now if you tap on that cell, blue bubble, drag it down, tap in the middle, and autofill. We don't need to add those numbers just yet. Those are our natural quotas. Now Hamilton's method, we're going to round our natural quotas. How do we round that? For Hamilton, we round down. So initial allocation, next column, we need to tell the computer, the spreadsheet, take those natural quota numbers, round down. So next column equals, do we know a formula for rounding things down? I don't know. I want things to round. If I just start typing round, then usually a formula pops up. Why is it not popping up? Equals. Why is it not popping up?
You have to do it capital. No? But how do you do capitals?
I don't know why all of a sudden my predictive text doesn't show up. All right, well, there's a formula that says round down. So for you, you start typing it in and it pops up. Usually with Excel or Google Sheets, like it gives you that idea of this is what it thinks it wants you to do. So we've got this formula, round down. I'll use that one. There's other ones where it says round or round up or blah, 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 whatever. We want round down. We need to tell it what to round down. I want to round down cell C2. Put in, now sometimes we need this, sometimes we don't. On the calculator we need this. I'm going to do comma the number of decimal places we want to round to. So like I could do to 2 decimal places, and you can see mine 12.21. I don't want that. I want this to 0 decimal places. So I've got round down. I'm going to tap the cell that I want to round down, comma the number of decimal places to the 0th place. Close parentheses. There is our formula that automatically rounds down that cell. If I hit the blue check or enter, we've got our value. Now, every state we need to round those down. So rather than retype that for everything, I can go back to that initial cell, drag from the little blue bubble at the bottom right all the way down, tap in the middle, and autofill. Press here, pull it down, there it is. We've got everything rounded down. Did you tap on the initial allocation button and copy that? Maybe.
Can you go back onto A? I just want to make sure I got this.
Back up to A.
Yeah.
Oh, here?
The initial, yeah.
Okay. Let me clear this out. Do that again. So we've got our equals rounded down. C2 comma 0. Then I will autofill that all the way down. Problems, okay. Paper 2.
I'm an Excel pro. Mr. Wise prepared me for this.
Okay.
Or I just don't have my iPad.
Okay. There's a freshman left their iPad over there if you want to go try that.
I don't want freshman.
Oh, that's your. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
You like
just
the
assuming
flowers?
that somebody from Miss Trauma's class always got it.
It's just the only song.
You don't even need to do that.
Let's clear that out.
You can
Top
do
one. Pull all the way down. Tab clear. Okay, top one equals. All right, tap on the state populations. Oh, not that one. B2, the next one underneath it. That one's divided.
Yep.
And we're going to tap on the natural divide, the bottom blue one. See about that one. All right, now that gave us that. Let's go back into that. Tap into the symbol. We want the dollar sign. Yeah, dollar sign right before the B.
I did B11, not B12.
That'll do it.
And it just kept coming up as like 0. Yeah. Okay, that was
How many seats do we currently have? Well, we could add them ourselves, or we could get the computer to add them for us. Well, we want to find at the very bottom of that column this total of all those seats. Now, we have a formula here. Now, one way that we did this was with the state populations. We typed in equals sum. There is another way to do this, a shortcut way of doing this. What I can do is I can highlight the entirety of, and it's not showing up, oh, there it is. I can highlight the entirety of the column, so I'm going to tap the first cell that says 12 right now, take the little blue bubble, pull it all the way down. For you, along the bottom of your screen, you're going to see somewhere it's going to say sum equals blah, median equals blah, average equals blah. For me, it's down here, bottom right. But what I can do is I can just tap that sum button, and it predicts the formula that we want there, and it doesn't do that for me. Okay, well, it does that for you. Otherwise, for me, I've got to have, and I got to figure out why all of a sudden my formulas are not showing up there. Uh-oh. So we'll pull in, we're going to do the sum D2 to D9. We have 223 seats. Now we've filled up everything except for the final bottom right blue. Hamilton's method, here's where we need to do the thinking. We have 223 seats. Hamilton assigns additional seats based upon the largest fractional part. We have to go back and look at the numbers. So we would have to go through and say, okay, that's going to be 91, that's going to be 19, that's going to be 28, and everybody else stays the same. So we actually have to go through for Hamilton's and put everybody's numbers in towards the end. We can then, now if you have 223 and you've added 3, you know you have 226. Otherwise, if you want a formula that adds together, we can put that at the end. Equals sum E2 to E9. There's our 226. The blue were our equations. Important parts. Now the bottom right one, you had 223, you're going to add 3. You know that that's going to add up correctly, but it's there so that we can see everything together. You never, for Hamilton's methods, you never have to go through, find the total, natural divisor, natural quota, initial allocation. Again, we're doing a different example. We'll just change the numbers. And if we go through and just change numbers, everything adjusts automatically for us. Boom. Everything is taken care of there. Hamiltons, you do not need to do by hand again. How's that look? Lowndes method. Oh, we've got a calculator that automatically does Hamiltons for us. Let's get one that automatically does Lowndes for us. Up for you to switch. Now, for me, at the bottom, I've got the tabs. If you tap the top, there's a blue check mark up at the top. That's going to indicate that you are done working on this set. It'll pop up the tabs down at the bottom. So if we tap that, then we'll have the tabs down at the bottom. We can go over to Lowndes method. Let's think about Lowndes method. What is different? Well, there's that relative fractional part. Everything else is the same. Populations, well, it will be the same. Total is going to be the same. Natural divisor is going to be the same. Natural quota is going to be the same. Initial allocation is rounded down the same. Everything in this chunk here is going to be exactly the same. If it's exactly the same, anybody want to go and retype the whole thing? Or if it's exactly the same, I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to go back. Notice that everything from state all the way down, this block is going to be exactly the same. I'm back in Hamilton's method. We're even going to do the same example using the same number so that we can check to see that it works. So what I will do is I will highlight the block. If I tap somewhere in the middle of that, I'll get the menu and it'll say copy. For me, I'm on the computer, so I'm just going to copy. Hit the blue check mark so I open up the tabs. Go to Lowndes method. If I tap in the state box, or whatever box that we are referencing, and tap again, it'll come up paste, and I can paste in that whole block that we've already done. If I check through, well, the populations, we just copy the numbers. Total, we checking the formula, total is the same there. All right, natural divisor. That's what we wanted. Our natural quotas, it kept through everything in there. Initial allocation, it took those values and rounded down. Now Lowndes, the only thing that's different from Lowndes to, from Hamilton to Lowndes is that we go by the relative fractional part. We will come up with an equation that gives us the relative fractional part. So rather than calculating it by hand every single time, we can write a formula and say, computer, do it for us. Ready for this? Okay, ready? All right. Relative fractional parts. There's a little bit of thinking this through on the board. The first one, we've got a natural quota. It says 12.2162, blah, blah, blah. What numbers would we use to calculate our relative fractional part? If we were going to type this in by hand, what would we be doing?
2.1. Or no, wait.
I take the decimal part, 0.2162, divided by the 12. So we know, ignore the whole number, take just the decimal, divided by the whole number. We've got to communicate that to the computer somehow. We're going to write a formula in there. So the very top one I'm going to start off equals, how can I tell the computer, take just the decimal? Any idea?
Is there a decimal?
Let's see, equals decimal. For me, my predictive text is gone. So I don't know if there's a decimal.
One.
You got a decimal? Okay. Or if we did not have that, Well, the decimal we want for the very first one is 0.2162. It's everything except for the 12. What's math talk for take away the 12? Subtract it. I can write a formula saying take the natural quota, subtract 12. Well, the 12, oh, it's the initial allocation. If we take the natural quota, subtract the initial allocation, that's going to give us just the decimal. We want to divide that value by the initial allocation. So I can write a formula that says C2 minus D2, that's in parentheses, divided by D2. So it's natural quota, take away the whole number, then divide that piece by the whole number. Or if there's the decimal part, there might be the whole part. Looking at what we have here, it's already there. Oh, we've got the formula in there. I've got that. Now we're going to do the same thing for every single state there. Copy and paste. So I'll select a little blue bubble, drag all the way down, autofill. So tap in the middle, get the menu, say autofill. We've got 223 seats. We know Lowndes' method is look at the largest relative fractional parts. So we'd add 1 there, we'd add 1 there, and we'd add 1 there. It's 28. Everybody, 28. Everybody else would stay the same. We can put in a formula down at the bottom that adds things together, but if we had 223 and we put 3 more, well, it's going to be 226 anyways. If you put those numbers in for you, you can highlight all the way down and hit the sum button and it automatically puts in the formula for you. Now here we've got this divide by 0 again. That's because we are dividing by 0. Lowndes' method, there is that issue that comes up that if we have something that's 0 at the start, they are supposed to get the very first one. You need to think and be smarter than the calculator because there's not an easy workaround so that if we have 0 at the start, like here I put in 1 extra number, that guarantees them the first seat. There should be something in there, but there's not because it's 0 at the start. We have to think beyond that if that shows up. There's Lowndes' method, already done. You never need to calculate the relative fractional part by hand again. So if you can think about things and then automate them in the computer, in the calculator, in a spreadsheet, it takes care of everything for you. Long term, spring, everybody's favorite fourth quarter CI project, the economic game. Create a spreadsheet that just, here's my food, just bloop, you put it in and it automatically adds things for you. If you change the numbers, everything updates automatically for us. I think that's kind of nice. Personally, I have a big spreadsheet that I use for my budget so that at the beginning of the school year it says this is how much you're getting paid. I type in the number and it, this is how much you can spend on food and this is why you're not going to eat this week kind of thing. Goes through and tells me all the numbers that I need. How's that look so far? You want to do Jefferson's? Yep.
This is a question about like